Welcome to Wrestling with Comedy, Episode 1. My name is Joel Davis, your host. And in today's episode on the podcast, Wrestling with Comedy, we are going to talk about keeping it real comedy promotion that I've been able to promote and start up in the beginning of the year 2025. It's been an interesting ride. There's been back stories, behind the scenes, everything that goes with it, including the drama, which you just can't get away from in life in general. But it's been mostly a real great ride being a promoter, but so many extra obstacles and different objects, so to speak, thrown at you as being a promoter in stand-up comedy or being a promoter of any event. If you're a promoter, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Things that no one sees. All they see is the show. They see the comedians. The comedians show up. They get their time. They get on stage. They get paid. They get their laughs. And they go home. And the comedians that work the shows, basically they're asked to do a little social media promoting, possibly sell some tickets, and get the word out that the show is a go in the venue, and et cetera, and it helps everyone, and everyone appreciates it that's involved with the promotion of the show. As a promoter, it doesn't stop there. As a promoter, there's a lot more to it, being a promoter. And I knew that when I took it on in the beginning of the year 2025, when I came up with the idea, the name, where I was going to go, the contacts, started to gather comedians on my roster, so to speak, and give it a shot. And it's been great. It really has been great. I'm planning on continuing. Is it something that will be something that I look at as a real long-term goal, like to keep longevity as the years come up? Possibly not. I'm more interested in comedian Joel Davis, myself, getting more stage time, traveling more, and making my way up the ranks in the wonderful world of stand-up comedy. But promoting now is part of what I'm doing, and I'm planning on putting 100% into it into the year 2026. So, Keeping It Real Comedy did start to be created in January 2025. I started to look for ideas of where to go to venues to run these shows. In January 2025, there was studying and looking into what comedy itself was. Again, I was a promoter for decades in entertainment fields, but not in comedy. So it was very similar, but I wanted to study. And in January, that's what I did. And late in January, I picked up my first venue. It was officially booked. It was a fundraiser, and I knew it was coming up in early April. In February, we started to put some advertising out there and make some announcements publicly that Keeping It Real Comedy was on the rise. It was something like a vision. It was a vision that we wanted to let people have the vision that this was coming up in February, and there was a little bit of buzz. In March, everyone knew that Keeping It Real Comedy was coming. Joel Davis, oh my Lord have mercy, this is a comedian that's 2 years in stand-up comedy, still a rookie, in the comedy, and now he's going to be a promoter. What is going on? People were wondering what is going on, and I ended up having friends that I didn't know I had. As soon as the announcement of the promotion was starting, everyone was Joel Davis's friend. Even folks that didn't like Joel Davis made pretend they were friends. I laugh about it. It's not a big deal, and I know who those individuals were and are. But I always wanted to keep it real, and I did keep it real. I was booking everyone and anyone that I thought had any kind of talent, in my opinion, and that could bring something to the table. I'm all about opportunity. I have been. I always will be. One of my favorite sayings in life is sometimes people need a chance. And most times they never get that opportunity for whatever reason it might be. the way they look, their upbringing, their nationality, their income, who they know, who they don't know. Do they play the game? When I say play the game, meaning, kiss up to the right individuals, they won't get the opportunity. I didn't want to do that, and I don't do that. And all the other thing, too, is booking your friends. And that's a big deal in stand-up comedy, and it was even in professional wrestling. I think more so in stand-up comedy versus professional wrestling, but both had that going on. And I didn't want to do that. I made some friends in stand-up comedy, and I have some good friends till today in stand-up comedy. Good friends, good close friends in stand-up comedy, I can count on one hand, and that's pretty much the truth. And those few friends that I have are real friends, and I have a lot of casual friends. There's casual friends, and then there's associates. And it was one of those things I said, you know what? If they're an associate or a casual friend, or if there's someone I don't know at all, I'm still going to give them opportunity. So that was in March of 2025 is when I started getting response from all kinds of comedians, people that I didn't know who they were, made-believe people. We had a made-believe person. I believe the name was Paul Cortez or something, or I know the name, but I don't have it in front of me. He was an imaginary person that was booking people under my name. That's another story for another episode. That will be an episode coming up. The Phantom Paul Cortez, who was booking comedians, hypnotists, different entertainers using the name Joel Davis, a Paul Cortez. Whoever this was had a contact with my email list. My error was I didn't put the BDCC, the blind copy, on the email, and someone grabbed the emails, and they were reaching out to all these different individuals, different comedians, even a comedian out of California. One of my true friends out of California, Cameron DeWan. Cameron Newsom, he's on stage by Cameron DeWan. He was offered a big gig, and Paul Cortez offered him, and we're not going to get into any more of it. But my name was dropped, and we have an hour on just that little incident. Somebody took all that time and effort to try to, I want to say try, an attempt to crush the name of Joel Davis as a promoter. Good try, but you missed. And I've been around the block. I'm not a young buck anymore, and I've been around the block, and I caught on to that. And again, we're going to talk about that in a podcast upcoming. If you'd like to hear more about the Phantom Paul Cortez booking different individuals and using Joel Davis as the name to compensate them, etc., put a comment below and let me know, and we can make that one of the next episodes coming up on wrestling with comedy. But yeah, so then it was March. It was out. The word was out. The first show was April 11th, 2025. It was a fundraiser for the Rhode Island State Athletic Division for the youth and for the football teams in particular. Good friend, nephew of the professional wrestler who's worked all along the country, including Puerto Rico, and worked with the WWE Punisher Don Vega. His nephew, Julio, who also goes by Jay Hollywood. He has ended up reaching out to me and asking me to take care of this fundraiser, and I put this together, this fundraiser, in about 4, 5, 6 weeks. We had over 100 people, and the venue, the Tyra Club in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. And that was April 11th, and it was a great show. It was a great show. And it was the first show of Keeping It Real comedy. A rowdy crowd, to say the least, and it really hit home, and it was a success. There was a lot of money raised for the Rhode Island state athletic commission, or not a commission, but the state youth board over there with the football teams for the the young football players coming up in the state of Rhode Island. A lot of money was raised, and it was a great show. I mean, from top to bottom, we had a good lineup that night, and that was the first show of Keeping It Real Comedy, April 11th, 2025. And then, with Keeping It Real Comedy, the history is building already in its first year. When I ended up getting the agreement and basically signing in with a venue called Seafood and Cones in Rainham, Massachusetts, booking 13 shows every Friday night, starting on June 6th of this year, all through June, all through July, and all through August, minus the 4th of July, every Friday night. We ran a show. We only had one rain out, and it was the very last show in the end of August. Great run. I'm very happy with it. It was working clean. And working clean, you got to remember, working clean, when I think about working clean, I think about not everybody can do it. Let's be honest, not everybody can do it. And not every comedian has it. Not every comedian has 5, 6, 7 minutes of clean. And I get it. And it was a learning experience for me, and still is, working clean. But that venue wanted all clean work. It's an all ages venue. I mean, it's an outdoor restaurant on an outdoor stage, family restaurant. I mean, come on, there's going to be children in the audience. There's no way around it. So when I started to book that show, it was every Friday night, and I'd book three at a time. Everybody got paid. We had the sound man come in, DJ Robbie Janinski. Great sound man and DJ. Shout out to Robbie Janinski, my nephew. And he was the DJ for all those shows. And we had different comedians for all those shows. And it was always switched up. And I can tell you right now, there was so many different comedians that got so many different opportunities to take the stage on a big stage at a great venue. We had such great weather every one of the shows that we did actually run there this summer in June, July, August in Rainham, Massachusetts at the Seafood and Cones. And all those comedians that came in all had an opportunity. They had photos sent to them after the shows. They were promoted on social media. Everyone's picture was put on social media if you were on the show. Not just some of the comedians that were on the show. Every one of the comedians had their photos put on all social media. I made sure of it, shared on different pages, basically plastered through social media. There was a write-up on every comedian that was on all those shows. Again, there's no favoritism. It's not who I get along with better or who likes me better or who hits like on one of my posts, or it's none of that. It's Keeping It Real Comedy. That's the name of the promotion, and that's the way I run things in life in general and whatever I run. It's the way I've always been. It's the way I always will be my entire life. And we had all kinds of comedians come in on those shows, and a lot of them I had never met before. And I had different individuals ask me too. They said, Joel, Keeping It Real Comedy promotion you have, and different comedians come in, and they're not all your friends. No, basically, really none of them are my friends. There might be one or two comedians that were really friends of mine, like really friends. Maybe one or two, maybe three were friends. But I had booked, without getting an exact number, with all those shows, we had 5 comedians each show, and it was like 13 shows. So you're talking 10 shows is 50, 60, like 65 spots. 65 spots in 3 months, all paid. Outdoor shows, under the lights. Great venue, and we will be back at Seafood and Cones in Rainham, Massachusetts in the year of 2026. We will. It's a done deal. We're starting back there the first week of June. Coming up, the first week of June, we're going to run every Friday night again. The all ages show, Keeping It Real Comedy, coming back. Looking forward to that. Well, some of the comedians we had at the Keeping It Real Comedy shows, the all ages shows, at the restaurant in Rainham that we're mentioning here, again, they had to work clean. And originally, when the show was coming up, there was apparently it wasn't clear enough to some of the comedians that it was working clean. There was everyone was spoken to on the phone, 99% of them, anyways, and very few only got a text message. Like 9 out of 10, I spoke to on the phone, explained to them there was a restaurant, family restaurant, outdoors, on a stage, and a lot of people assumed that it was 21 plus. Not everyone, but some did. And there was a little confusion with that. And we did lose a few comedians, and they were already advertised. And they were already advertised to be on my shows. And when the actual email came out like the week before with all the details, mentioning again that you must have, a complete clean set to be on the show, then I ended up losing, I'd say 4, maybe 5 different comedians, 4 or 5 comedians. And they, one would use the other one's name and said, oh, well, this such and such can't do the show. I can't do the show. Okay, that's fine. They're lined up to do the shows. I have people lined up that can work clean and that work 21 plus. And you know what? And the ones that work 21 plus, they want those shows more than anything. And so don't I. Come on, I'm the real deal Joel Davis. I mean, have you seen any of my content? Or have you seen any of my work on stage? Or any of my sets? Or my material? There's nothing clean about it. But the venue wants clean work, and that's what we'll give them. And that's what we're going to continue to give them. All my other shows are 21 plus at this time. And, at 21 plus shows, it's an easier work for all comedians. And I think all the comedians will agree it's an easier work. Working clean is not for everyone, and some don't take the time to learn it or don't have the desire to learn it. That's fine. You just won't be able to work these shows that I have out in the restaurant stage outdoors. But some of the comedians that we did have had no problem with it. And they could work clean, and they did work clean, and everyone did great. We had some great shows. We really had some great shows. I'll drop some names here that we had. I mean, I will miss some names, and don't take it personal. I'm not reading cue cards. It's the top of my head. The Seafood and Cones run the 13 shows out there this past summer. Some of the comedians that we had perform were Polish Paul Kwazowski, Lloyd Legacy Shop, Julie Wesner, Naomi Green, Kyle Cote, Johnny Rotten, Kyle Daly, Nick Monroe. These are some comedians that come to my mind right away that work the outdoor shows in Rainham, Massachusetts, under the Keeping It Real comedy banner this past summer. Like I said, I think about the shows, and Jack Lombardo. Can't forget Jack Lombardo. Jack Lombardo was another one. He had his friend Mike Kozak, the blind man from Boston. He come in. Great comedians. All these comedians, great comedians that all came in. Chef Phil Thompson, another one that came in, did 2 shows for me this past summer out on the Seafood. And again, never met some of these individuals, just saw a video. They sent an email. They sent the email right over, any Hall of Famer 2011 at gmail.com. Any Hall of Famer 2011 at gmail.com with the information. Anyone can do that now. I mean, their information, a photo of them, a little biography, a bio on them, and then just basically a 5-minute or less video. And listen, I don't really turn down many comedians. I try to give everybody at least one shot at one show, that if they take the time to reach out. There was only maybe 1 or 2 comedians that I didn't get on because I couldn't. I had one comedian that said he could work clean. He says, is it okay to say fuck? And is it okay to say shit? No. It's a clean show. And it's funny, but it's not funny. I mean, that's exactly what that comedian had said to me. He wasn't even able to work clean, so he wasn't on those shows. And we also have the 21 plus shows, and these shows have been great. absolutely great at the Mascaro's Bar and Grill, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, because I honestly butcher that name, not purposely, no disrespect to anyone. But Joe runs that venue up there. That's his own venue in Cranston, Rhode Island, on Park Avenue. Great shows. Love Joe. Had so many great memories at that venue already. Plan on coming back in the future. We've ran 6 shows there. We've brought in some big features, and we bring in features from other states, including California and New York City. Cameron Dewan was a feature twice out there in Cranston, Rhode Island, flying in from Los Angeles, California. Ralph Duran has done 2 feature spots in Cranston, Rhode Island, traveling in from New York City. Eldon Gashi, he came in from New Jersey. He did a spot up there recently at the Morosco's Bar and Grill in Cranston, Rhode Island. We also had a feature, a local favorite, Andy. She's hilarious, great lady. She came in and did a feature spot up there. Dave Prando, he was also one of our hosts, local Cranston, Rhode Island favorite, and a friend. Dave Prando, one of those 5 friends that I have. He was a host, and he brought it to the table. And so didn't Duran and Dewan and Andy and everybody that's worked those shows. The late, great Jim Biggie Smalls was on our first show at Morosco's Bar and Grill, and that was on April 25th, I believe. On April 25th, I believe was the date in 2025. Could have been the 25th, the 23rd, 24th, 25th of April. That was the show that we had the first show over there, and I should know it. It's 24th. It's the 24th. Yes, Jim passed away on the 26th. I just got into Austin, Texas. Rest in peace, Jim Biggie Smalls. Rest in peace, Jim Biggie Smalls. More for Jim Biggie Smalls. I miss your brother. He was a great guy. He had a great outing on that show. And that show and every show that we've had out there has been solid. And we've ran 6 shows out there. We had a little time. We had a month or so away when I was away in Austin, Texas. And when we did return back, we ran out there in April and in June, July, August, September, and October. And and these are shows that we're running monthly out there on Thursday nights, 21 plus shows. Morosco's Bar and Grill, Keeping It Real Comedy. This is some of the history of Keeping It Real Comedy promotion. Some of the shows that we've ran so far. We're continuing to run shows. We have to mention this, recently in the last couple of weeks, there's been an opportunity that's come to the table. I've received emails. I am in correspondence and currently negotiating with bringing Keeping It Real Comedy to New York City. And this could happen as early as early January 2026. So Keeping It Real Comedy has a great history already. As a promoter, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed promoting. I've enjoyed everything about it. Really, it's some things that you don't enjoy too much, but you try to enjoy as much as you can. And you build memories with a lot of people, and you get to know people for real. Don't listen to all the BS out there. Don't listen to what everybody has to talk. You remember there's going to be haters at all times. Get to know somebody first, because I'll tell you something. Sometimes when you get to know someone, if you figure out the rumors and what's been said is really not true. And that's what I did. I brought in all these different comedians and worked with so many comedians over the last year being a promoter now. Every one of them I've liked having. I really have. Every one of them for one reason or another. They were great to have. I'm glad I gave them that opportunity for whatever it was worth. That stage time, if it was 7 minutes, 8 minutes, or 15 minutes, or 10 minutes, whatever I gave them for stage time, their small payday, photos of them on stage sent to them, the publicity of pushing them, networking them through social media on my time, on my dime. I'm glad I could do it. I'm going to continue to do it. And it's like this. It's like now that we have the podcast, Wrestling with Comedy, it's about to get real and raw, folks. It's going to get really real and raw. Until next time, keep it real at all costs.